I'll never forget the day my wife looked me in the eye, told me she deserved better than a comfortable life, and walked out on me and our 3 kids to move in with her personal trainer. What she didn't know was that 1 year later, she'd walk back into my life and wouldn't recognize the man standing in front of her. My name is Robert. I'm 38 years old, and this is the story of how losing everything taught me who I really was. 12 years. That's how long Jennifer and I were married. We met in college, got married at 26, and built what I thought was a good life in Austin, Texas. I worked as a software engineer at a mid-tier tech firm, pulling in about 95 grand a year. Not spectacular, but steady. Jennifer stayed home with our 3 kids, Emma, who was 8 at the time, Lucas, who was 6, and Lily, our 4-year-old. Looking back, I can see the cracks. But when you're in it, living it day by day, you don't notice the foundation slowly crumbling beneath your feet. You just see Tuesday night dinners, mac and cheese, kids arguing about screen time, your wife on her phone more than usual. But hey, everyone's on their phone these days, right? I thought we were happy, not fireworks, everyday happy, but solid, comfortable. That word would come back to haunt me. About 8 months before everything fell apart, Jennifer joined this boutique gym downtown. She'd been talking about getting back in shape, finding something for herself after years of being just mom. I encouraged it. I was happy she found something that made her feel good. She started going 5-6 times a week. New activewear appeared in our closet. Her Instagram shifted from kid photos to mirror selfies and motivational quotes about discipline and transformation. And she talked about Marcus a lot. Marcus was her personal trainer. Late 20s, built like a Greek statue, owned a Tesla and half the gym, apparently. "He's so motivating," she'd say. "He really gets what it takes to push past your limits." I'd nod along, proud of her dedication, never thinking, never even suspecting that she was talking about him the way you talk about someone you're falling for. I should have known. Looking back, all the signs were there. The new perfume, the way she'd take her phone into the bathroom, how she stopped initiating sex, stopped asking about my day, stopped looking at me like I mattered, but I didn't know. Not until that night. It was late, maybe 1 a.m. I couldn't sleep, some work problems spinning in my head. Jennifer was passed out beside me. I grabbed her iPad from the nightstand. We used to share everything, thinking I'd read some news, maybe tire myself out. Then the notifications started popping up. iMessage synced from her phone. "Can't wait to wake up next to you every morning. Tonight was perfect. You're perfect. I told my wife I'm leaving. It's happening." The contact name was just M with a flexed bicep emoji. But I knew. Of course I knew. My hands started shaking. I scrolled back. Months of messages. Explicit photos I won't describe. Plans to start fresh together. Conversations about how she deserved someone who understood ambition, who made her feel alive, who wasn't just comfortable. I sat there in the dark, my wife sleeping 18 inches away from me, and I felt my entire world tilt. Nausea rolled through me. I wanted to wake her up, scream, demand answers, but I also wanted to understand. How long? How many nights did she come home from the gym and kiss our kids goodnight with his cologne still on her skin? I didn't sleep. I just sat there scrolling, reading, piecing together the affair I'd been too blind to see. When the sun came up, I woke her. I didn't yell. I just showed her the iPad. She didn't cry. She didn't deny it. She didn't even look surprised. If anything, she looked relieved. Like she'd been waiting for this conversation, ready to finally stop pretending. "Robert," she said, her voice calm, almost clinical. "I've been unhappy for years. You're a good dad, but we're just roommates. Marcus makes me feel alive. I deserve more than comfortable." I tried to argue. I brought up the kids, our vows, therapy, anything to make her pause and think about what she was throwing away. But she was already checked out. She'd made her decision weeks ago, maybe months. This conversation was just a formality. "I'm moving in with Marcus this weekend," she said. "We'll figure out custody." And that was it. 12 years, 3 kids, a whole life together, reduced to, we'll figure it out. That Saturday morning, movers showed up, prearranged. She planned this down to the last detail while I was making breakfast and coaching Lucas's soccer games and believing we were fine. The kids didn't understand. Emma kept asking where mommy was going. Lucas cried and clung to her leg. Lily, our baby, just looked confused, her face crumpling every time Jennifer put another box in the truck. Jennifer hugged each of them, promised she'd see them soon, and told them mommy loved them very much. She didn't look at me, not once. Then she got into Marcus's Tesla, sleek, black, expensive, everything I wasn't, and drove away. I stood in the driveway watching the car disappear, my 3 kids crying behind me, and I felt something inside me break. The first week alone was survival mode. I took emergency leave from work. I had to figure out how to be both parents overnight. Breakfast, school drop-off, daycare pickup, dinner, bath time, bedtime stories, repeat. The house felt too big and too empty at the same time. Jennifer's absence was everywhere. In the closet, at the dinner table, in the bed that suddenly felt enormous. Emma, smart and sensitive, asked the hardest questions. Did we do something wrong? Is mommy coming back? I tried to explain without making Jennifer the villain, but how do you tell your 8-year-old that mommy chose someone else over all of us? So I lied. I said mommy and daddy needed space, that we both loved them, that none of this was their fault. Lily started wetting the bed. Lucas threw tantrums over nothing. They were unraveling, and I was barely holding it together enough to keep them stitched up. Friday night of that first week, I finally got all 3 kids to sleep. It was after 10. I walked downstairs to the living room and just stood there in the dark. There was a photo on the mantle from our wedding, Jennifer in her white dress, me in my rented tux, both of us grinning like we'd won the lottery. I caught my reflection in the black screen of the TV. Overweight, I was pushing 240 pounds at 5'10", unshaven, exhausted, old. I looked like a man who'd given up, and Jennifer's voice echoed in my head. You're comfortable. I deserve more. I sat down on the couch and I broke. I'm talking shoulder-shaking, silent sobs, the kind of crying you do when you're too tired to make noise. I cried for my kids. I cried for my marriage. And yeah, I cried for myself. That night I looked at myself, really looked, and I realized something. She was right. Not about deserving to cheat. Not about abandoning our kids. But about one thing. I had become comfortable. Comfortable with being mediocre. Comfortable with being forgettable. Comfortable with being the guy someone could walk away from without a second thought. And if I didn't change, I'd stay that way forever. 2 days later, my brother Nathan showed up. He'd heard through the family grapevine. He took one look at me and didn't pull any punches. You look like shit, he said. When's the last time you ate something that wasn't from a drive-thru? When's the last time you worked out? I got defensive. Told him I was dealing with a lot. 3 kids, divorce, betrayal, the usual. He sat down across from me. I'm not saying you don't have a right to fall apart, but you've got 3 kids watching you. What are you teaching them? That when life knocks you down, you stay down? I don't even recognize myself anymore, I admitted. So change, Nathan said. You're 38, not 68. You've got time. Show those kids what a comeback looks like. The conversation planted something, a seed of defiance maybe, or just exhausted anger. I didn't want to be the guy Jennifer left. I didn't want my kids to remember their dad as the man who broke when things got hard. So I made a decision. I set goals, private ones. I didn't tell anyone except Nathan. Lose 40 pounds, get promoted at work, become the dad my kids needed, and eventually maybe date again. That last one terrified me. I hadn't been single in 13 years, but I wasn't doing this to win Jennifer back. I was doing it to prove I was never hers to lose. I joined a gym the next week, not the one Jennifer went to. I picked one across town, a no-frills place full of serious people who didn't care about your story. I hired a babysitter, a college student named Rachel, who could watch the kids 3 evenings a week so I could work out. I started therapy, both for myself and family counseling for the kids. And I started showing up for myself. The first 2 months were brutal. I dragged myself out of bed at 5:30 in the morning before the kids woke up and forced myself to the gym. Everything hurt. I could barely finish a workout without feeling like I was going to pass out. I overhauled my diet, meal prep on Sundays, no beer, no late night stress eating over the sink. The scale moved slowly. 240 became 2 on 35, then 230. Some mornings I wanted to quit, but then I'd remember her face when she said I was comfortable and I'd do another rep. By month 3, I started seeing progress, 220 pounds. My old clothes fit again. I met Kyle at the gym, another divorced dad working through his own pain. We pushed each other, competed, made it a game. The kids noticed. Emma hugged me one morning and said, "Daddy, you look different, strong." That might have been the best compliment I've ever received. By month 6, I was down to 200 pounds, 40 pounds gone. I had visible muscle definition for the first time since college. I bought new clothes, fitted shirts, dark jeans, a leather jacket, got a better haircut. People treated me differently. Women smiled at me in coffee shops. Colleagues complimented the change. But it wasn't just about the weight. I'd found something deeper. Discipline, structure, self-respect. Every morning I woke up sore and tempted to skip the gym. I'd think about my daughter asking if mommy left because of us. And I'd lace up my shoes because I needed them to see you don't let betrayal break you. You let it build you. While I was transforming physically, I was also leveling up at work. About 3 months into the divorce, I volunteered for a high visibility project, re-architecting our company's main platform. It meant late nights after the kids went to bed, but I had the time now. No wife to talk to, just me, my laptop, and the need to prove I wasn't stagnant. I crushed it. My presentation to senior leadership landed. The execution was flawless. 8 months after Jennifer left, my boss called me into his office and offered me a VP of engineering role. The salary jumped to $160,000 plus equity. I accepted on the spot. Then I went home, put the kids to bed, and sat on the back porch with a beer. Part of me felt proud, but part of me felt bitter. Jennifer always said I lacked ambition. Turns out I just needed a reason to prove her wrong. With the promotion came lifestyle upgrades. I moved the family to a nicer townhouse in a better school district, bought a Tesla Model 3, practical, but yeah, also a subtle flex. I could afford better childcare now, music lessons for Lily, soccer league for Lucas, science camp for Emma. Custody with Jennifer settled into a pattern. She had the kids every other weekend. Sometimes she canceled a lot. Turns out Marcus wasn't interested in playing stepdad. The kids would come back from her place quiet, saying they felt ignored. Emma told me one Sunday night, "We like it better at your house, Dad. It feels like home." I built routines. Friday pizza nights, Sunday park trips, bedtime stories every single night, no exceptions. I coached Lucas's soccer team. Helped Emma with science projects, took Lily to ballet. The kids started calling me Super Dad, half joking, but I could see the pride in their eyes. Our family therapist said the kids were resilient, adjusting well, thriving even. And I was learning too, learning to process my anger, learning to forgive myself for not seeing the signs earlier, learning that being a good father was the only revenge that mattered. But life had one more surprise for me. 10 months after the divorce, I took Lily to a trial piano lesson. The teacher was a woman named Sarah. She was 34, warm smile, patient with kids, and when she played Beethoven, the whole room seemed to hold its breath. After the lesson, we chatted. She mentioned she was also divorced, no kids. She loved teaching because music had saved her during her own dark times. Lily begged to continue lessons. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and I talked more. Post-lesson conversations turned into coffee. I told her about the divorce, the transformation, the kids. She told me about her ex-husband, a musician who chose the road over their marriage. She didn't pity me. She admired the work I'd put in. "You didn't just survive," she said. "You rebuilt. That's rare." Month 11, I asked her to dinner. My first real date in 13 years. I was terrified, but we talked for hours about kids, divorce, dreams, what it means to start over. At the end of the night, I kissed her in her driveway, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. By month 12, exactly 1 year after Jennifer left, Sarah started joining us for family outings. The kids adored her. She was patient, playful, never tried to replace Jennifer. She just fit. Emma whispered to me one night, "I like Sarah, Dad. She makes you smile." For the first time in over a year, I felt like I wasn't just surviving. I was living. And the best part? Sarah didn't fall for the old me. She fell for the man I became. Then, 1 year and 1 week after Jennifer walked out, my phone buzzed with a text I never expected. "We need to talk. Can I come by?" It was Jennifer. Nathan told me not to engage. "Don't let her back in, man." But I was curious. What could she possibly want after a year of radio silence? I agreed to meet at a coffee shop, neutral ground. When she walked in, I barely recognized her. She looked rough, thinner, but not in a healthy way. Cheaper clothes, no ring, no glow. She sat down across from me and didn't waste time. Marcus had left her 3 months ago. She was too much drama, apparently. He'd met someone younger, less complicated. Jennifer lost her job. She'd been working at his gym, and after the breakup, it was too awkward. Now she was living with her sister, barely scraping by. She broke down, right there in the Starbucks. I made a mistake, Robert, the biggest mistake of my life. I threw away a good man, a good father, a good life. I want to come home. I want to fix this, for the kids. A year ago, hearing those words would have destroyed me. But sitting there, looking at her, really looking at her, I felt nothing but a strange, detached sadness. "Jennifer," I said calmly, "I'm not the same person you left. And honestly, I'm grateful you left, because I never would have found out who I could be if you'd stayed." She looked at me like she was seeing a ghost. She noticed the weight loss, the new watch, the confidence in my voice. "You've changed," she whispered. "I'm dating someone," I said. "Someone who sees me as more than comfortable, and the kids are happy, happier than they were when you were around." Her face crumpled. "Let me prove I've changed. Let me see the kids more. Give me another chance." I thought about it, not about taking her back. That ship had sailed and sunk. But about whether she deserved another chance with our kids. "Emma's birthday party is this Saturday," I said. "At my place. You can come. The kids would like that." I didn't tell her Sarah would be there. I wasn't hiding it. But I was also curious to see her reaction to the life she'd walked away from. Saturday afternoon, my townhouse was full of noise and color. Princess-themed decorations for Emma's 9th birthday. 15 kids running around, parents mingling, music playing. Sarah had come early to help set up. She wore a sundress, her hair pulled back, laughing with Lily while they arranged cupcakes. My friends were there, Nathan, Kyle from the gym, co-workers who'd watched my transformation. Everyone knew the story. Jennifer arrived 20 minutes late, overdressed like she was trying too hard. The kids ran to hug her. They still loved their mom, despite everything. That's the thing about kids. They forgive easier than we do. Jennifer's eyes scanned the room. New furniture, new photos on the walls, me and the kids at the park, at the zoo, laughing, and then her eyes landed on Sarah. I was in the kitchen when Sarah walked over with a tray of cupcakes. Jennifer approached at the same time. "This is a really nice place," Jennifer said to me, her voice tight. "You've done well." Sarah smiled warmly, genuinely. "You must be Jennifer. I've heard so much about you. I'm Sarah." Jennifer froze. The girlfriend, the replacement. Sarah's kindness wasn't an act. The kids talk about you all the time. Emma was so excited you could make it today. Jennifer shook her hand weakly, managed a strained smile. For the next hour, I watched Jennifer watch us. She saw Sarah braid Lily's hair. She saw Emma introduce Sarah to her friends as Daddy's girlfriend with unmistakable pride. She saw me and Sarah laugh together, easy and natural. She saw Nathan clap me on the back and say, "You did good, man, real good." At one point, Jennifer cornered me in the kitchen. "She's nice," she said, her voice cracking. "How long have you two?" 10 months. She teaches Lily piano." "You look amazing, Robert. I almost didn't recognize you." "Yeah," I said. "Turns out when you have to become both parents overnight, you find strength you didn't know you had." When it was time for cake, everyone gathered around. Sarah and I stood with the kids. Emma blew out her candles, made a wish, and grinned up at us. Lucas ran over to Sarah and asked if she'd come to his soccer game next week. "Wouldn't miss it, buddy," she said, ruffling his hair. I looked over at Jennifer. She was standing at the edge of the room, watching, alone, an outsider in the family that used to be hers. Her face said everything: devastation, regret, jealousy. As the party wound down, she found me in the kitchen. She was crying. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm so sorry. I ruined everything." I took a breath. "You made your choice, Jennifer, and I made mine. I'm not angry anymore, but we're not going back. The kids need stability, and I'm giving them that, with or without you." She nodded, wiped her eyes, hugged the kids goodbye. They were already distracted, playing with their friends. I walked her to the door. She paused on the porch. "For what it's worth," she said quietly, "you deserved better than me." "Yeah," I said, "I know." She walked to her car, a beat-up Honda now, not a Tesla, and drove away. I watched her go, and I felt nothing. No triumph, no satisfaction, just closure. That night, after Sarah went home and the kids were asleep, I sat on the back porch with a beer. Nathan called. "How'd it go?" "She saw everything," I said. "It didn't feel as good as I thought it would." "What do you mean?" "I thought I'd feel victorious, but mostly I just felt sad for her." Nathan was quiet for a second. "That's because you're a good person, Rob. Revenge isn't your style." Maybe he was right. The next week in therapy, my therapist asked if I felt guilty. "Not for moving on," I said, "but for enjoying her pain, even a little." "Does that make me a bad person?" "It makes you human," she said. "You're allowed to feel vindicated. What matters is what you do next." Sarah noticed I was distant that week. One night she asked me straight up, "Do you still love her?" "No," I said, "but I loved who I thought she was, and that loss still stings." "That's okay," Sarah said, taking my hand. "You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep moving forward." And I did. Jennifer asked for more custody time through her lawyer. I agreed to a slightly more flexible schedule, but primary custody stayed with me. The kids preferred it that way. They liked the stability, the routines. Jennifer got a job at a different gym, started therapy, tried to rebuild. I heard through mutual friends she was dating sporadically, but nothing serious. Marcus had clearly left scars. I kept my boundaries firm. Co-parenting only, no friendship, no let's have family dinners for old time's sake. She respected it. She knew she'd burned the bridge. 6 months after the birthday party, Sarah's lease ended. I asked her to move in with us. The kids were thrilled. Lily started calling her Miss Sarah. Emma asked if we were going to get married. "Maybe someday," I told her, "but we're taking it slow." Because we'd both been burned, and we knew what it meant to rebuild from nothing. Life settled into a new rhythm, a good rhythm. I kept up my fitness, morning runs, gym 4 times a week. Work was going great. I was leading a major initiative, respected by my team, making real impact. I stayed in therapy because healing isn't a destination. It's a practice. The kids thrived. Emma excelled in school, talked about wanting to be a scientist. Lucas scored the winning goal in his soccer championship. Sarah and I cheered from the sidelines, hoarse and proud. Lily performed in her first piano recital, playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, while Sarah beamed. Sunday mornings became my favorite. I'd make pancakes while Sarah helped Lily practice piano. Lucas would build Legos on the floor. Emma would read on the couch, legs tucked under her. I'd pause sometimes just to take it in. This was what I'd been fighting for. Not revenge, just peace. People ask me now if I regret how things turned out. And honestly, I regret the pain my kids went through. I regret the year I wasted being someone I wasn't proud of. But Jennifer leaving? That's the best thing that never should have happened. Because it forced me to become the man I was always capable of being. I saw Jennifer one more time. Emma's school play. She came to watch, sat a few rows behind us. Afterwards, she approached. "You're a good dad," she said quietly. "They're lucky." "Thanks," I said. "Take care of yourself, Jennifer." She nodded and left. Final closure. 18 months after the divorce, my life looks nothing like it did. I wake up next to Sarah. We drink coffee together while the kids eat breakfast. I kiss her before heading to work. I come home to noise and laughter and family dinners. The old Robert, the one Jennifer left, wouldn't recognize this life. And that's exactly the point. A year ago, my wife left me for another man. She thought I wasn't enough. She thought I was comfortable, forgettable, easy to replace. Turns out I was always enough. I just needed to believe it myself. And now, I wake up every day next to someone who sees me, really sees me. I'm raising 3 incredible kids who know their dad doesn't quit. Jennifer met the new me. And you know what? She was right. I am different. I'm better, and I'm never going back. Comfortable? Yeah, I'm comfortable now. Comfortable in my own skin. Comfortable with who I am. Comfortable knowing I turned the worst thing that ever happened to me into the catalyst for the best version of myself. And that's a kind of peace no one can take away.